And hello everybody, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we'll be doing types of elements. So you can get two different types of elements. You get block level elements and inline elements. Now block level elements are basically like a container, we can say, and it contains something in it. For example, the P element contains text in it. The H1 element contains text in it as well, but it just makes it a little bit bigger. Now you get a lot of them, like for example H1 form, or H1 to 6 actually, form, li, for lists, ol also list, ul also list, p, pre, table, and div, and so on and so forth. Now these all start on new lines, which means that these ones you can put it in. You can have a P element, and then inside of the P element you put an Li element. You can't do that. It has to be on its own. Now there is one exception to this. Everything needs to be on a new line, these block elements. Now this one is the div. If you have a div, you can put things in it. For example, the P element, pre element, you can put anything inside of a div. It's the only block line element that can contain other block line elements. Then we get the inline elements. Now these elements, they're displayed without line breaks, meaning it doesn't start on a new line. Also meaning you can use it inside, like the P element, for example. At least most of it, then you can. Now these are like the B for bold, A for in hyperlink, strong, also bold. Then you can also get things like images, input, embedded text, and span, and so on and so forth. Now let's look at an example of it. So first we'll be making a div. Now a div is mostly actually used as a container for other elements. Now we're going to put an H1 above the div, and then we're going to make the div the color green with some white text inside of it. So you should all actually know how to do this by now, but if you don't, you can just watch on and see how. Okay, now we'll be looking at some inline elements. For now we'll be looking at the span element. What we'll be doing is we'll be putting a paragraph here, H2 size, so that's big, and then we're going to make important in red. This is inline, so this will be used inside of the block line element, which is H2. Now, we all know how to change the text color. We all should. If you haven't watched my earlier videos, please do, because they will teach you how to use this. So we're going to make it some important text, important will be red. The inline elements will allow us to make the text red, and the inline element is inside of the block line elements. It can never just be the inline element. Okay, now that we have the text here, we'll be making the important red. Now you should know how to do this already. You don't just say style equals quotation marks and just say color, the two dots, and the color you want it. Now this should make it red, but remember this is an inline element, which means it will only change the importance, but will not change anything outside of it. If you did this to a blockline element, the H2 will basically change everything, unless it's like a div. If you put another blockline element inside of a div, then that blockline element won't be specifically affected by the div unless you specify that it should be. Now you get some elements that can be seen as inline and blockline elements. Now you can use them in both, that's what I mean. So these are like applet, which allows you to code Java, like put embedded Java into the code. You get iframe, which is an inline frame. You get ins, which allows you to put inserted text. You get map, or an image map. You get object, or an embedded object. And then you get script, to put script within an HTML document. This is mostly used when you want to put JavaScript into the HTML itself and not in a different folder, or a different file, not a different folder. And that's all for today, guys. I hope you learned something new and that this wasn't too confusing. Thank you all for watching. See you all in the next video. To teach the world.